Alright guys, so this video is probably going to be over a couple of days. So I think I found some new seat options for my 86 T-top car. I was out at the junkyard the other day just kind of searching for some odds and ends parts, just kind of whatever I could find, that I could either resell or use on one of my vehicles. And I stumbled upon an 86 Lincoln LSC, and it had these black leather seats in it that really aren't in bad shape. Overall, I like the seat design. Just kind of a neat seat. And so I ended up getting these for $75 for the pair. I went back today and pulled them. So far, none of this is actually cracked. It is just very dry and hard. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get... I'm going to take some leather cleaner, get them cleaned up, some conditioner, get them conditioned. Then I'm going to take and pull off the LSC seat tracks and put on the pair of manual Fox tracks that I have. And we'll kind of go from there. I may test fit them in the car just to kind of see how they bolt up in there. These are full power seats, so I will have to figure out the back, but I think I am going to wire in the lumbar and the bolster. Those are the only two options I didn't test on the seats when I got them. I ended up putting a jump pack on the car, just enough to move both seats so that I could get to the rest of the bolts. So I got all that done, got it out. All of the power that I tested does work on the seat, so all the tracks do move forward and back, and the seat back actually moves in position as well. So hopefully this would be a fairly straightforward swap. I may end up combining this video on the seats with once I get the engine back here. I'm still making a little bit of room in the garage so that I can get the engine here, and I'm probably going to end up buying an engine hoist for my garage as well. And just kind of hopefully be able to do some more stuff here. Then this spring I'm going to get the T-top in here and really start to tear into it and kind of see where I can go from there. So for right now, I'm going to try getting these things cleaned up. Probably set up something and video my process on how to do these. So we will get started. Alright guys, got them all kind of cleaned up for the first step, and I've got to say that I think they turned out very well. So next I'm going to take and get some conditioner on them. I'm going to do multiple coats of the conditioner just because I don't really want to get any of this cracking any worse. So I mean, it's definitely a lot better than it was when I brought it home, because the driver's window was down about 3 inches. I don't know how long the car's been there, but this seat was all covered in snow back here and all through here and up in here. So this seat was actually pretty frozen. This one was not too bad. The leather feels really well. I really think that these seats are going to turn out pretty good. They do kind of have a blue tint to them, but my 86 is probably going to be a mix between a gray and black interior anyway. So we'll throw them in, even if they're in there for a year or two, and I decide to go with racing seats and harnesses. Being that it's a T-top car, and I'm wanting to do a Windsor with nitrous, I think I'm going to end up caging the car, and when I do, it's definitely going to be better to have racing seats with harnesses than just shoulder belts. So we'll just kind of see. After I get the leather conditioner on, I'm going to take and flip the seats over and pull the old tracks off, and then I'll bring the Mustang seats home from my dad's and get the manual tracks swapped over. Just real quick, so pretty much my process, I used the Adams leather and interior cleaner. First, I just kind of sprayed it down, let it sit, kind of soak into that junkyard grime, and then I just took and I wiped it off. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see how dirty this towel is, but I mean, it is just nasty. Yeah, so there's the clean side, and this is what we got off of it. So one of my favorite interior tools is this scrubbing mitt. I mean, you think it's clean, and then you go back over it with this, and it just picks up everything. And especially for this perforated leather, that thing works great. I use it in my truck. I've used it in the wife's Flex, and it always amazes me what I end up getting out with that. So once they're completely dry, there's still a few spots that are a little wet. I'm going to go over it with the Adams leather conditioner. It really helps soften the leather. So I'm going to put a coat of that on, let it sit, flip them over, pull the seat tracks off, and kind of go from there. It'll probably be a couple days before I do another coat of the leather conditioner, just so it's got some time to soak in before I put some more on top of it. But we will go ahead and get them wiped down with conditioner, and then we'll flip them over and see about getting those seat tracks off. Alright guys, now I've got the seat flipped over. Looks pretty simple. Looks like we've got 1, 2 10mm bolts, 1, 2 Phillips screws, which will expose the other 2 10mm bolts underneath that. The only issue that I'm thinking we may run into is just the electrical motors right here. So let's go ahead and start getting this torn apart. Kind of see where we go from there. Usually just use my impact. It's currently in my van, so we will just do it the good old-fashioned way. And this one being the driver's seat, and the one that was frozen in the car, it does. These do extend out, but the one side is frozen on the driver's side. So I need to figure out how to get that taken care of. Get that freed up just so that everything works. I have the same feature on my 89 Mustang GT seats, and I don't hardly ever use those. So I don't see why these would be any different. Get these pulled back. Out of the way just enough. There we go. Alright, which exposes the other 2 10mm bolts. I'm glad I laid this blanket out. Alright, so there is seat number 1. Awesome. There's the tracks. They're all self-contained. There's that. I may not worry about trying to switch these seat backs to manual. I may just go ahead and wire them in here. Just put a couple relays in and make it to where the back still moves power. We'll just kind of see how it goes. If I can easily get it swapped, I'll probably just go ahead and swap it, and we'll just kind of wait and see. Once again, nothing on that car is set in stone. These were kind of an impulse buy, just because they were still in decent shape. And it's nothing I've ever seen done before. I'd asked on a few of the forums if anybody had done this or seen this done before, and I really didn't get a whole lot of replies. So I'm going to assume, you know, this definitely is not a common swap. So we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Get the screws put back in there, and then we will move on to the other seat. Right here. Get this passenger side tore apart. And from everything that I read in the Lincoln forums, a lot of the guys were switching over from the LSC seats to Mustang seats because they were lighter, and they were going with a more performance, more of a performance style on their cars, and they were just swapping the seat tracks over either to the Lincoln seats or just swapping the Mustang seats to the Lincoln tracks to save weight, because these seats are pretty heavy. I believe what I read was about 90 pounds fully dressed. So, get this seat track off, get everything put back, and then I will bring home the Mustang seats maybe tomorrow and continue on with this. These off. When I pulled these seats, I did pull all of the switches out of the Lincoln as well. That way, if I do decide to stick with the power, I do have the factory switches. You know, I may or may not be able to incorporate those somewhere into the Mustang's interior and kind of give it that, you know, that Ford factory type of feel. So yeah. All right, guys, that looks like that's pretty much it. We got our seat track here for the passenger seat. Passenger seat is disassembled. I'm gonna do some digging and see about swapping this mechanism out here. I guess if this is just one screw, I'm gonna go ahead and take that out. Got another one here in the back. Take these out and see if this is the first seat swap that I've ever really dealt with. Everything else I've ever done was on my Ford Probes that I used to mess around with back in high school, and everything was pretty much plug and play in those cars. So I've not ever really done much of this kind of stuff. So once I get the Mustang seats home, I'll see if I can't get rid of this motor here and swap over the Mustang manual lever instead. Yeah, I've got a feeling that spring is going to be my biggest issue there, but we'll pull apart the Mustang seats. They're pretty much junk to me anyway. They're tan leather seats. I've tried selling them. No one wants them. So we will use them as donor seats for this project. So until I get the Mustang seats home, that is it for today. So I will pick back up with the Mustang seats. Alright guys, finally got the Mustang seats home. So as you can see, these bolt holes actually look like they will line up perfectly. So seat tracks are the same width, which from everything that I had read online is pretty much, what I had expected. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these seat tracks off these Mustang seats and try to go ahead and get them bolted up to the Lincoln seats, and we will kind of go from there. Alright guys, so got everything installed on the new seats. The Fox Mustang tracks did bolt right up to these seats. The only issue that I had, which I will show you here, this is the bolt hole that the Lincoln seats originally used. The seat tracks were just that much longer. Now the Lincoln seats did have a hole already in this spot, but it was not threaded. So with a little persuasion with an impact, the bolts cut threads, it tightened right up, no issue. The hole was already the correct size, it just wasn't threaded. So got both seats squared away for right now. The only issue that I've still got is the Fox seats are a manual back adjust. They only had the power lumbar as well, and then the manual bolster. So the Lincoln seats, thought I had one of these apart. It's all power. So I think for right now, I do have all the switches for these seats. I think I'm going to try to wire in toggle switches so that the back is still power adjust. These seats have power, lumbar, and bolster. So next, I just need to test fit them in my 86 GT, and not going to happen this week because it's supposed to be super cold out. So hopefully here in the next couple of weeks I can get these seats bolted into the, or at least set into place in the Mustang to kind of see how they sit and, what kind of headroom I'm looking at. So with that being said, until next time, hope you guys enjoy the video and hopefully it helps somebody else out. These are super nice seats, very comfortable, and everything that I had found, no one had done any sort of write-up or video on this swap, and I couldn't find any information on anybody that had done this swap. I couldn't even find anybody in the Mustang groups that had done this. So hopefully this is helpful to somebody. So hopefully, if you guys like what you see, like and subscribe, and we will continue on this Fox Mustang build together.